points of reference. You see, you gotta be clear that when you come into a label as a rapper, let's just say someone who's black, who's making music, the point of reference is never as big as the point of reference of your white counterpart. I know, again, of scenarios and outcomes where artists who don't have any followers of any significance, no streams, no major views, who are signed as developing artists, and their budgets are way in excess of an artist who may be black, who raps, has millions of streams. And the reason potentially for this is the point of reference, because you could sign an artist who is going to be a pop star and their point of reference can be someone like Adele, someone now like Olivia Dean, Amy Winehouse. That's how they can potentially measure it. Whereas if you sign a UK rapper, what's the point of reference? It's anomalies. It's a Stormzy. Do you know what I mean? And even then, Stormzy on his last album did not do anything near what will qualify him as a pop artist in the space that he's in. Then you may say Dave. Dave is again an anomaly. But when you sign artists, are you seeing them to be close to a Dave or a Stormzy? Is that their point of reference? Maybe, maybe not. You may now say Central C. He again is an anomaly. We haven't seen one of these before. And when it trickles down and you say, well, if it's not going to be that point of reference, but something that's kind of close, you have labels who, if they sign artists today who are young, their point of reference is A1 and J1. People may not understand it. People may think it's funny, but A1 and J1 have made millions of pounds for their label. They were young. Their song went viral on TikTok. They were like one of the first artists to go viral on TikTok. They did a deal. They had the young generation. They charted. They've had platinum hits. So the point of reference when an artist is being signed to a label, there's always going to be something there. So if you're a street rapper, there's going to be a point of reference. So people even used to look at it in terms of like Clavish. It was more stylistically, but I used to say point of reference would be Fredo. Do you get what I mean? So there's always points of references which you're trying to base what you think the career and how far it can travel. So when you're a rapper today and you go to a label, behind that curtain is a point of reference into which they're trying to view where this thing can go. And there has to be a picture. I can tell you for a fact that if you have an ambitious point of reference you're trying to go for, whether they believe you or not, they would love to be involved in that hopeful journey. Because when you're so localized with just trying to do things for the mandem, for the streets, imagine you're saying your point of reference is the streets to a person whose point of reference is sold at O2, Global Star, music that travels, Grammys, all these things here. And your point of reference is your postcode. So there's a part where we have to look at what our point of references are. Similarly with managers, what are your point of references? Are you doing your studying? Are you trying to be like a X, Y, and Z? You know, we have to really start looking at the things that we're focusing on. And when I talk about a point of reference in a commercial sense, it limits us because our music hasn't really crossed over a lot. You have a Tiny Temper. He is a point of reference for a commercial pop act. Like Tiny's a pop artist. He's not seen as a rapper. His form of music may be rap, but he's a pop artist, you know. And you have a few people who transcend culture, like Skepta transcends culture. He's been here for 20 plus years. He evolves in different spaces. Yes, he's a grime artist. Yes, he's a rapper, but he's also a businessman who has his own label, his own clothing line, Mains, which is doing really well. His SK Pumas, which is doing amazingly well. DJ and collective he has with him and Jammer. Like, this is transcending. He doesn't just sit in grime. He transcends into other spaces and pockets. So when we're looking at point of references, rappers, you need to look at how you can transcend. And you have to be clear that it's not a fair fight. When I mean a fair fight, it's not a fair fight in terms of like what you should be expecting you're going to get. Though I say it's not a fair fight, you have to be clear. Pop stars make serious money. Rappers don't make labels serious money. And that's the truth. As much as you think you've got a song that's done 100 million streams, there's a lady called Mabel who's got a song with 1 billion streams. Do you get what I'm saying? We're looking at different sides of the equation. You know, there's artists who are always in the charts, like selling hundreds of thousands of albums each time, physical, vinyls, tours. The man them are struggling to get 1,000 to 2,000 people at pop-ups. They may be struggling to get 2,000 people to come to their show at Kentish Town Forum, or if it's Hammersmith Apollo, that's 4.5, or Brixton, same way, same numbers. Like, these are the levels and these are the points of reference. So when you look at the kind of deals we get, and then the guys are trying to run it up and run off on a plug, you got to understand, again, their point of reference is, we give you guys money, you guys go waste it on jewelry, you don't have good financial management, you just care about frivolous things, the money runs out, it doesn't work out, and now you're doing sob stories saying we didn't know what happened. I'm not saying this to pop anything down. I'm just saying these are perspectives that maybe some echo or feel about us as a culture, right? Because now we need to move into spaces where we have more points of references to change the stigma. Because there's a stigma about our music, our culture, where it lands, what it's for. Ultimately, when you do a live show, most of the people in the audience are not people who are from your block. They're not people who usually look like you. They're people who are usually younger kids, who are somewhat impressionable, who just think it's cool. So with all that I'm saying is that we need to now look at the ways that we can scale things. How can we be more than just a rapper? How can you be someone who's more than just trying to get money from a label, from an advance? How does your point of reference now move to how you're earning money that's coming into you every month, not being paid flat out and then always having to almost sign on, literally, like every deal you have to sign on, because that money that you're getting, whether it's 500,000, 750 bags, 200 bags, 300 bags, you're living from deal to deal. And Usher said something similar recently when he spoke about he had to try and get his finances in order because the deal he had as a youngster is a deal that he still had to be working through in his later life. And for me, even with my content I'm creating, it should try and be a point of reference for real information. Does it get the most views? No. Is it more factual and more in depth than maybe what you're seeing elsewhere? Probably. So we need to now try and have more points of references that help us grow, help us sustain, and help us be more nuanced in our understanding, and actually know when we step into these buildings and these offices or these deals to be more prepared. I have a thought process, and it's a perspective where it's like, when you're more informed, you take things with less disrespect. Like, you don't take things as disrespect because you're aware what it is. If a person comes in and says they're going to sign you, and the next minute they drop you and you're like, oh, bro, you obviously didn't know what this was, because you're now taking it offensively because it's now become a motive to you. Whereas if it's clear from the beginning, this is what it is. It's like a man linking a girl, and a man's just like, he tells a girl, listen, it's not that, it's this is what it is, boom. If she catches feelings, his excuse is always going to be like, hey man, I told you what it is. Business is kind of like that. They're not explicitly going to tell you what it is, but you've got to know what it is. You got to learn what it is, you know, and don't let this game turn you fool. You know, the money that you're being able to make for some rappers is life changing, because you can't make that type of money elsewhere other than music at this point. But let me not even limit what you can do. But you know what I'm saying? If you're getting hundreds of thousands of pounds advances, try and really get financial advisors. People who's really gonna really show you where to put your money, how to pay for, like, is important. Like, tax issues are real things, like, for most of them and them. Do you know what I mean? So it's things that everyone has to really start looking at points of reference. And when you see someone who's successful, study their pipelines, of how they're sustaining themselves. Don't just think because a man's got all these streams, the simple byproduct of all these streams is all this money. Because that song's done 100 million streams and it pays like 3.5 bags per stream. So my man made like, like, we have to really develop our mindset more than surface level. And then we can be points of reference to other people who want to come and follow the path we're on. pause. I know, red card. No, I'm joking, but let's just look at things. And like my overall summaries this year, and again, these are things that have been explicitly told to me. Some deals, and it's a bit weird because a rapper can go and waste all his time, freestyle this, doing 1,000 TikToks, have bare followers on Instagram, and the deal he'll be offered will be less than an artist who's not released a song yet, who doesn't make anything similar to his genre, has no social digital footprint, because their point of reference is, if we get this right, it goes there, you know? And that's something to always be mindful of, right? That's why they say pop music. And rap is not really pop music. It's localized. It's culture-based. And people feed into the culture, have an interest in that culture. That small bubble of what it is not enough to sustain what people view as real pop success. UK rap music is not enough to do certain things. And we have to be clear on it. And could it ever get into that space? Probably not. Maybe it could. I doubt it. Because like we already know the makeup of what we are within the culture. And more people listen to pop radio stations than they do One Extra or Capital Extra. Like everything is paused bigger on the other side of the fence. So their points of reference are always bigger than ours. Our points of reference are the Mandem, DBE, Legends, Stormzy, Dave, Sench, Huss. Do you know what I mean? Everyone knows who the top 5s are or who the top 10s. And everyone looks at those as our points of references. But when you go into another space, a man's looking at Elton John, Sting, Oasis, Dua Lipa. Do you get what I'm saying? Amy Winehouse. Do you get what I'm saying? Like their points of references are a complete and utter madness in comparison to ours. So yeah, man, just a random perspective I want to give you guys about points of references. And yeah, like, comment, subscribe. Put point of reference in the comments if you're getting my point. And yeah, man, more perspectives coming soon. Peace.